Hello everyone, today I want to say a story about the house with the blue door. Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by rolling hills and golden fields, there stood a small house with a blue wooden door. The house was not large or fancy, but it was filled with warmth, laughter, and memories that gave it a special kind of beauty. To anyone who passed by, it might have looked ordinary, but to the family who lived there, it was the very heart of their lives, the place they called home. Inside lived a mother, a father, and their 3 children. The parents had built the house with their own hands many years ago. Every brick, every nail, and every wooden beam carried a story of their struggles and hopes. The children had grown up running through its narrow hallways, chasing each other in the small garden, and sitting by the fireplace during long winter nights, listening to stories their father told. For the family, home was not just walls and a roof. It was the smell of bread baking in the kitchen on a cold morning. It was the sound of rain tapping on the roof while they huddled under warm blankets. It was the safe feeling of knowing that, no matter what happened outside in the world, this place would always welcome them back. One evening, the eldest son, Armin, sat by the window staring out at the hills. He had grown restless and dreamed of traveling far away. He wanted to see new cities, meet new people, and discover life beyond the village. "Father," he asked one night, "why do we stay here when the world is so big?" The father smiled gently and replied, "Because no matter where you go, you will always need a place to return to. That place is called home. It is the anchor that keeps you steady when the sea of life becomes too wild." Armin did not fully understand those words, but he carried them in his heart. Years later, he left the house with the blue door to study and work in a distant city. At first, he was excited by the tall buildings, the crowded streets, and the endless lights. But as time passed, he began to feel the weight of loneliness. He missed the smell of his mother's bread, the laughter of his younger siblings, and the peaceful sound of crickets at night in the village. On his loneliest evenings, he would close his eyes and imagine himself back in that warm kitchen, his family gathered around the table. He realized that the meaning of home was not just the building itself, but the love and comfort shared inside it. Years later, when he finally returned, the blue paint on the door had faded, and the walls were a little cracked, but the moment his mother opened the door and hugged him, it felt as if nothing had changed. His siblings, now grown, laughed and told stories late into the night. The father looked at him with pride, as though he had known all along that Armin would discover the truth. The world is wide, but there is only one place that truly holds your heart. That evening, Armin walked out into the garden. The stars above were the same ones he had seen as a child. The smell of fresh soil, the cool breeze, and the glowing windows of the house filled him with peace. He finally understood his father's words completely. Home is not just a place where you live, it is where you are truly alive, surrounded by love. From then on, no matter where he traveled or what he achieved, Armin always carried the memory of the little house with the blue door. To him, it was more precious than any treasure, for it reminded him who he was, where he came from, and where he would always belong. The moral of this story is that home is not just a building, but the people, love, and memories inside it. We often look at the wider world and think that happiness lies somewhere far away. But when we leave, we discover that what truly comforts us is the feeling of belonging, safety, and care we get from home. The story also teaches us that while it is important to travel, explore, and achieve our dreams, we should never forget our roots. No matter how big the world becomes, there will always be one place where our heart feels complete. Home gives us strength when life feels difficult and reminds us of who we really are. In the end, the lesson is simple: the world can offer many experiences, but only home can offer love without conditions. Cherish it, because it is the foundation that supports everything else in life.